When we approach a project, we think about how can we storytell for this particular client, for this home. We become mentors, guides. We help them uncover matters that matter most in their lives. We become friends with their children and become very acquainted with their style of hosting and function. Then we take that information and then balance in beauty, more function and emotion, and layer in their experiences and their travel. Our clients are unique, their histories are unique, and so we take all of that and bundle it up in an experience that they can relive and reflect on when they're walking through their homes. It becomes their legacy.
Well, we start every project with a discovery call. We want to get on the phone with you and just to get to know you just a bit, but also to understand the project. We want to know what the budget you were thinking and also the timeline for the overall scope and figure out what the next steps are. And usually that's going into a consultation where we do a site visit and get to know you and your family. And we really want to understand your expectations and let you know how we work. And we want to make sure that it's a right fit for both of us. And looking through your home, doing that walkthrough, asking tons of questions about your lifestyle and really getting to know your family and seeing how we can be a part of that and how we can elevate your space.
So a part of that is also taking inventory of what's in place. Like, are we designing around, great grandmother's sofa? Do we have like this monstrosity of a fireplace that, we're just gonna have to keep to maximize the budget? But having some of those difficult conversations will produce an amazing product in the end. And so that's what we are talking about, and during the consultation, we're getting knee deep in fairly quickly.
And also gathering so much inspiration because that's going to be the next step. We're going to be creating something very special for you. And we want to know what you expect out of your space interjected with our flair.
Which will always be a interpretation of what we heard as we do our homework, but we're also going to understand how much we can push you, and so there also will be a example of, what taking it to the next level may look like. So we feel it's important to meet our clients where they are, but also push them a little bit,
Mhm.
towards the cliff, if you
Yeah. You'll have
push them.
options, but we're going to try it. We're going to go for the bold, and then you can pull us back if need be, but we're going to try.
Yeah. After our consultation, we will start to build a client concept. And typically, we're going to build 1 to 3 concepts, because we want to meet our clients where they are, around the parameters that were gained. But we also want to push them a bit. And so we want to influence some bolder, more trusting options. And so understanding the client budget is going to be priority,
Mhm.
and where we start. We want to influence our clients in a direction that also reflects the parameters that they've given us, the budget that they've set, the pieces that we're designing around. And once we've met our client and understand their recent travels, their color preferences, how they host in their home, how they like to function, that will then let us know what type of textures we should influence into this space. What are the seat depths? Or, can we lean on the side of art and modernity, or should we be focusing on comfort? All of these things are important for us to start to build a concept. Although the concept is a lot more abstract
Mhm.
in its deliverable, and we're not going to have as many concrete pieces, we will still introduce some pieces of furniture because we want to see how our clients react to some of these options.
And the way you're going to see that initial concept is by way of mood boards. So we're going to be presenting those 1 to 3 concepts, showing visuals, and that could be a collection of fashion, interior design spaces, textures. But it's really to understand how do you feel about this? Like, just we want to get a visceral reaction from you from just seeing something very abstract. But we do ask for some visual cues. So we're going to ask you to drop some inspiration images in a folder, spaces that you've seen, spaces that you've been to, and to really understand how those spaces made you feel in order to then create a space that is reflective of you, but also some of your other experiences.
And then we're also going to test what we heard you say with visuals. So after our pretty abstract concept board, we'll actually follow up with some actual furniture pieces, and they will be intentionally distinctly different. And that's really to see how you respond to each one of those pieces, as Tavia mentioned. Are you truly modern if we put, this tight back, low 18-inch high, sofa in your living room, or do you gravitate towards this classic Chesterfield? And ultimately, I think that positioning some of those pieces in front of the client will ultimately define their style and where they're willing to go.
Mhm. We get a lot of feedback from that.
Once we've conduct the consultation, we will move into conceptual design. During the conceptual phase, we will oftentimes put maybe one design, maybe two, maybe three in front of our client, depending upon sometimes how inspired we are, how vast we've been allowed to take the design, or how definitive we heard our client speak about their needs for the space. And so this is what we call our preliminary presentation. We like to position some options in front of our clients, um, because this is the first time we're seeing them respond to anything that we've curated for them. And so we like to incorporate this before we move into our final presentation, just to see, engage what they respond to. And that preliminary presentation will consist of the concepts
Mhm.
that will embody some of the feedback we heard, whether it's color driven, function, or so forth. In the conceptual presentation as well, we will offer several floor plan
Mhm.
options as well as furniture options for them to respond to.
And the way that we present that is through mood boards, floor plans, and furniture options and selections. So this is the first time that our client is able to see what we've come up with, and through one of those 1 to 3 concepts of how bold or how restrained we're going to be with your space. But that's for us to get feedback. We want to know how you react viscerally to some of these visual presentations, and we're going to be talking through function. Floor plan and space plan is so important. So we're going to present maybe that living room has 2 sofas facing each other, or there's a sectional. So we want to know how you're going to use the space and really give us information for that final design. So that way, when you see that rendering, it is almost exactly like you imagined, or, there'll be a few surprises.
A part of our homework is gathering information, and a part of that information includes pictures and names of hotels and um, maybe even Pinterest finds that our clients have saved over time that they love. And so this will start to build their expectation or their design palette or just simply what they're interested in. A lot of times, someone may pin a picture or say, "Hey, I really love this room," and it's literally the chandelier, or maybe it's just the rugs. This is why it's imperative to do our homework and gather a few inspiration images from our clients at the start of the project so that we could understand what they're attracted to. Sometimes, specifying your style as something as blanket as modern or traditional is just simply not enough. And I would go so far to say that one image cannot completely describe how you want to feel in your home and the type of experience you want. So during this preliminary process, we are showing our clients several different design ideas, concepts, as well as furniture styles to see how they respond to those options.
So after we've gathered all of the feedback from the conceptual design, we go into design development, and that's where it gets real. We're balancing aesthetic, function, and budget. This is probably the most technical part of our process, where we're creating drawings for our contractors, we're creating drawings for ourselves, and we're developing renderings. And that's really what I think sets us apart, is that you're going to see a 3D like realization of the space that we've come up with. And a lot goes into that. So we are looking at and sourcing all of your furniture pieces. We are looking at all of the textiles, and we are trying to make sure all of that fits in your budget. And at the end of this, you're going to see your rendering. and a proposal for all of the pieces that we think would be perfect for your space. But not only that, we'll include a few options so that way, if you're like, I don't really know about that armchair, we can just switch another end that we also think will work really well with the space.
We're essentially doing revisions at presentation. We want to know and have a full collaborative conversation and presentation with our clients. And so we built in some additional options that, maybe that's too bold for them. Maybe they may want to come back. Or here's a bold option.
Mhm.
So from conceptual to final presentation, we continue to be very collaborative with our clients because it is more important that we get the experience and the heritage and the history that is going to represent our clients in their homes rather than what we think is best or what we like. At this phase of the project, we have built up a lot of trust with our clients. And it's super important because during project management and procurement, we are 10 toes down. We are all hands on deck and we are taking care of the implementation of this project, which means purchasing everything, collecting everything, inspecting everything, and facilitating installers as they're coming on the site and off of the site. It's a very technical phase. It is one that we actually love. We get to see the design come into fruition, but it's important for our client to be at ease. So there's a lot of communication. There's a lot of updates. We actually speak to our clients weekly on what's happening in the home and what's being scheduled.
And just know that we are working behind the scenes. With everything that Monet mentioned, it is imperative that you trust us and that you understand that there's so many moving parts at the project management stage that you're not going to see your furniture for a little while. It will be at the receivers, but it is well taken care of, and we will be installing soon.
The final install is what the client waits for on day one. So it's an exciting time. And we start that day off by delivering furniture to the site.
Of course, all white glove delivery. After everything has gone to our receiver and they've inspected, we're bringing everything on site and every bit of trash will be removed. But we're starting to see the space come to life at this point. And of course, you use a white glove delivery service. They're taking care of your furniture, making sure everything comes in well and is well placed. We are using our handyman to hang art and making sure that it is perfectly done and your drapes are just kissing the floor. And we also are kind of playing around with accessories at this point. We're seeing what works and what doesn't work. And with all these moving parts, it's best that you're not in the home so that way we can work and you can be surprised.
Once that final accessory is placed and pillows are fluffed, we bring our clients out for a grand reveal and share a toast to your beautiful new home.
What we want you to know about working with Forbes Masters is that we're bold and we're thorough, and we're going to take your vision further than you imagined.
We design with fearless intention.
We craft story rich interiors that honor identity, spark emotion, and elevate everyday living.
Forbes Masters redefines what luxury feels like.